Hello everybody and welcome to Dark Souls 2, the review. Now, I know Dark Souls 2 has not been posted on the channel and it will not be posted, and that's for one very simple reason. I fucking hate this game. I tried to put my grudge against this game aside for content's sake, and I tried to play it. I'm actually on the character that I had 2 or 3 episodes planned out for. This is the stat lineup right here. You see I went heavy into the strength and faith for the sunset stuff. But I just can't do it. I've scrapped the idea. I've started making Dark Souls 3. The funny thing it being, in the time it's taken this character to get this far in the game. By the way, I've only killed the first boss. I've killed the Lost Giant and that's it. That's the entire progress in almost 6 hours. In that same amount of time on my Dark Souls 3 playthrough, I had already gotten to High Lord Warner. Or to the catacombs. In about 7 hours, I had killed High Lord Warner. That's how far I got in the game, and that's with collecting every item. That's with killing every boss. But this little video is just a little review on the game. Tell you exactly why I'm not going to play it, and to tell you as well that if this video does get, I don't know, let's say 10 likes. It's not a lot of likes. If it gets 10 likes and I get a comment on my latest video out, or for whatever that will be, if you ever see this, and it asks me to play Dark Souls 2 because this video has more than 10 likes, then I will come back and I will play this. But for the fact of the matter, I can't play this game at the moment. Everything about it is just absolutely horrendous, from the level design to the boss design to the system design. Everything is just completely out of sorts and completely bloody useless. So for those of you who haven't played Dark Souls 2, and thank God you've been saved the burden, a lot of the stuff from Dark Souls 1 was stripped away. The stuff like the iframes have been changed, a lot of the systems have been changed. The spells still have the same way of working. You get a certain amount of cast of them. We're not onto the mana system yet, that's Dark Souls 3. But a lot of the other systems, like iframes, have all been changed. And for some ungodly reason, Dark Souls 2 devs decided to make Adept one of the stats in this game, which changes iframes. Don't know why, but you need, I think it's 22 points in Adeption to gain just back the Dark Souls 1 Estus fast drinking, the Dark Souls 1 rolling iframes. If you make a game to the point where you have to create an entire stat just to have it become what it once was, then you failed miserably. Level design, absolutely horrible. I spent a good 3 hours lost in the first level because I didn't know where to go. This game has no direction. Elden Ring, the open world game, has more direction than this. Yes, in games like Dark Souls 3, there are a lot of different pathways you can go. Great example of that being is the Road of Sacrifice. As soon as you get to Road of Sacrifice, you can take 2 different pathways. You can go up to the Deacons of the Deep, or you can go to the Watchdogs of Farron. Obviously, there's a certain progression you're supposed to go about it. You're supposed to go Deacons of the Deep first and then go Watchdogs of Farron. But you can go wherever the hell you want. It's fine. But the game makes it linear. It makes it obvious which way you're supposed to go. It has 2 guards posted outside the ladder that leads to the Farum Azula swamp, or the Farum swamp, to let you know that, hey, these guys are kind of hard. Yes, they can be cheesed off the ladder, but if you were to fight them, they do a ton of damage. So then it kind of pushes you in the other direction. You fight the Crystal Sage and you realize there's a path behind her. In this game though, as soon as you start here in Majula, you go through an entire tutorial, and as soon as you come down here, there is, let's count them off, 1 path, 2 path, 3 and 4 path over there. There's a 5th path down the hole. 5 paths just off the top of my head. There's another path back in the tutorial you can take as well. And probably a couple other different ones that I don't know about. But I think there's like 8 different paths out of Medulla. A couple of them are locked off, like the hole and the second pathway that's over there are all locked off until you get to certain points in the game or until you speak to certain NPCs. But stuff like this is what annoys me, because you have no idea where to go. The first place you're supposed to go is all the way tucked behind here. You're supposed to go that way. That's the beginning, quote unquote. But then when you get to the end of there, where do you go? There's hundreds of different pathways. Well, there's not hundreds, it's exaggeration, but you get the idea. There's a ton of different pathways, and none of them connect together properly. Another thing as well, health system in this game absolutely sucks. Dark Souls 1, and especially Dark Souls 3 perfected this. If you die, you lose the equivalent of whatever your humanity is. So for Dark Souls 1, it was humanity. For Dark Souls 3, it's embers, and you're punished for losing them. Yeah, in Dark Souls 3, you lose a portion of your health. In Dark Souls 1, you can't kindle the bonfire, and you get treated differently by certain NPCs. It also affects your luck stat in Dark Souls 1. In Dark Souls 2, you don't have a fixed stat. You just get progressively sicker and sicker over time. The more you die, the more your health bar gets locked away until it's eventually at half health, and you can't fucking do anything. If you run out of human effigies, oh well, guess you're staying at half health for the rest of your Dark Souls 2 career. A game that punishes you for being bad by making the game harder is just bad game design. I understand Dark Souls is supposed to be hard, but there's a reason why this feature is never put in any of the other Dark Souls games, because it's just a bad feature. Just simple as. Not just that though, boss design. Boss design is going to be one of the last things I talk about in this little review, because it's more of a... There's hundreds and hundreds of little things I could complain about this game, but I'll keep it down to the basic systems, the basic mapping, and the basic bosses. Enemies and bosses in this game suck. Enemies, there are far too many of them. And the annoying thing is, if you kill too many of them, they never respawn again. Which means any kind of farming route you have planned is thrown completely out the window unless you're willing to reset the bonfire, and then you're just making the game harder for yourself. Bonfire resetting itself with the bonfire aesthetic, a really good idea. I would love to be able to refight bosses and still get rewards for refighting them in their harder difficulties. But if you're going to have that feature from software or anyone else watching this, have it to where you can reset the boss specifically. I went to the Tower of Flames, for example. Tower of Flames, this area here. Where is it? You can see this bonfire is 2, because I fought the Dragon Rider Knight, and I thought this bonfire would be far too prior in the level for it to affect whether the Dragon Rider gets reset. So I chose a bonfire that was directly after the Dragon Rider, in hopes that because it's closer it will reset and then I can go through the back way. No, that's not how it works. You have to know exactly which bonfire is hooked up to what boss, and the game doesn't tell you this. The game doesn't tell you the limits of where the new game is. It doesn't show you any of this. If you put a bonfire at New Game Plus, you're not going to know where the end of that New Game Plus is, because the areas aren't clearly defined. But bosses, oh god, bosses absolutely suck in this game. The first boss of this game is called the Last Giant, and their entire fight consists of, for any sorcery user at least, the boss stands in front of you, it charges, and you just do this. That's the entire fight. Do that 6 or 7 times, the boss is dead. It never even gets to chasing you back. As soon as you walk through its leg, it falls over. It spends fucking 5 minutes getting back up on its feet, and by then it's already dead. An entirely useless boss, no challenge in it whatsoever. The next boss, the what's he called? The Predator? No. He's called the P. His name begins with a P. Like the Paladin, something like that. His fight sucks as well. You know how you start his fight? In an arena. Do you know what he does? He charges towards you. Do you know what you do? You just walk around him. And then you shoot him with a ballista that are conveniently stationed in the boss fight. This game is absolute dog shit. If you guys want me to play it, I will. But for now, I'm not going to waste the time, the energy, or anything else on this shitty ass game. I do want to play the game. I do want to platinum the game. But unless I have a lengthy guide playing at the same time, I'm not going to be able to do any of that. My first character I ever had on this game still hasn't finished the game. He's level 300. He's got 150 hours or something in this game. And he still hasn't finished. That should tell you anything. I've got almost 200 hours in this game. And I still, for the life of me, couldn't fucking tell you shit. I played Bloodborne for 300 or so hours. I think 312 hours. And I could tell you every single item pickup. I could go, oh yeah, that's oil. Those are pebbles. That's a bloodstone shard. In this game, I can't even tell you where to start. But that's a little overview. That's why I'm not going to be playing Dark Souls 2. If you want me to, like I said at the beginning of the video, get this video to 10 likes, leave a comment on my most recent video asking me to play it, and I will do it. But I'm not going to put my mental sanity on the line to play this game when there's no benefit to it. It's not a fun game. It's not well thought out. There is no strategy to it. This is not a hard game. It's just a stupid game. But anyway, I'm going to leave this episode here. If you have enjoyed this little rant I went on, consider leaving a like, comment, or subscribe. If you do have a comment, I will get back to you. And remember what I always say, try and improve your day. Bye-bye.